Welcome to Keep It, Cricket Media's show about pop culture and politics and what happens when they smack into each other at an alarming speed. I'm your host, Ira Madison III, a television writer and Fall Out Boy fan.
I'm Louis Fertel. I'm a TV writer and Jane Fonda historian.
Let's get into it.
And we are back for an all-new episode of Keep It, live from Gag City. I'm Ira Madison III.
Wow, they didn't condemn this place yet? I'm Louis Fertel. Gag City still... I was just saying it's not very walkable here. The public transportation leaves a lot to be desired.
They're constantly updating the public transportation every day. You know, the bus system, we're getting the deluxe bus system next week. So
okay.
Maybe then I'll be able to get across town.
Until then, I'm stuck here in Soho, Gag City.
I'm also delighted to say that we have a guest co-host this week making his official Keep It debut, although he played one of our games on our YouTube channel with me. Juan Ramirez, the chief theater critic at Theaterly, and, you know, my friend. Hello.
I am furiously tweeting Gag City Mayor Eric Adams to fix the fucking train.
That cannot be his jurisdiction. I'm sorry. Let me see the county lines.
He's probably there now, though.
Right.
Instead of doing his damn job.
There's some ribbon cutting happening at Gag City that Eric Adams is just, cheesing at.
So we have a lot to cover this week, but there's truly so much going on. But first, we got to talk about these damn Golden Globes, because the nominations popped up yesterday, and I have to tell you, I forgot that we were even having Golden Globes.
No, right. Do they exist? Don't they? But also, it's like the other thing happened where it's none of the same voting membership that exists before, or it's like a third of what we consider the HFPA still exists, and now it's this whole other block of people. So it's like they look like normal Golden Globes nominations, except wait, it's way better, way more qualified now, and yet I still don't know how much I care or how much it matters, if it is indeed a precursor to the Oscars anymore or just a completely separate conversation.
Well, also Penske Media bought them.
How could either of you forget the Globes exist when Rachel Zegler is tweeting about it daily?
You think I follow her?
I have to say, as a disruptor, I'm a fan. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like anybody, it's like that kind of Renee Rapp quality of something about you is just a word we don't use anymore, ornery. I just miss that quality.
Right. A tertiary cast member of Oklahoma, ornery.
I would say I like the concept of Rachel.
Okay, sure.
We into every generation, an annoying actress is born. And she's either actually annoying or she's perceived to be annoying. I think we remember that Anne Hathaway endured this for quite a bit, and now she's mother to everyone.
That's a different story, though, because Anne Hathaway's whole thing is people pleasing, and this girl's thing is not. Yeah.
Yes, this girl's thing is. I was not invited to the Oscars, but I will get there.
Yeah, no, she has that Sean Young sort of showing up as bad girl quality,
Oh, Juan, it turns out you're a permanent guest host on this show.
Sean Young is appearing off-Broadway currently, by the way.
Is she really?
Is she?
Yes, and her New York Times interview is wild because halfway through she just starts talking about Trump. And then it's downhill is not where it goes, but it goes off the rails.
That's interesting because I expect rational back and forth rat-a-tat with Sean Young. I don't know how this happens.
All right, Golden Globes. First thing first, I'm going to address the misconception on Twitter, on social media in general, in articles from alleged journalists this week that happens every fucking year. May December is in the category for musical or comedy film. I need you to know that the people making these films submit them to the categories themselves. So the Globes themselves didn't just decide May December is a comedy. It is a comedy, a black comedy, but we don't have to get into that debate again this week. I'm just letting you know that the Globes did not decide that May December is going to go up against Barbie, okay? the people who made May December decided that May December is going to go up against Barbie.
I am pretty blown away by people not recognizing that May December has lots of broad comic flourishes in it. They're black comedy flourishes, but like the music stings. Natalie Portman asking to see a storeroom and a pet store so she can mime sex by herself. I mean, like, it's very absurd, and the absurdity is comedy. But that said, like, there's a history of why the drama comedy binary is a little strange. Like, for example, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Almost every line in that play up until the last quarter you could call funny. Like, you're laughing constantly at that play, but it is definitely a drama. So when we're talking about the Golden Globes, I think people are always going to submit their movie if there's an argument for either category where it's most advantageous to them. And it's probably easier for May December to score in that category.
Well, in that category, it's up against Barbie, Poor Things, American Fiction, The Holdovers, and Air, which I was talking with my best friend Drew about Air, which I had not seen yet. And part of me was like, that came out this year. It felt like it came out last year because it came out so early. And I was expecting that to be one of those movies that was sort of forgotten about by the time we roll around. And yet it got a nomination. So I guess I do actually need to go and see Air. And I have not seen The Holdovers yet, but of this group, Poor Things is my favorite film of the year. So I would give it to that, but I do not think that it's going to win, obviously. It'll probably be Barbie.
I'm not quite sure what's going to happen in that category. I really like Poor Things. I think it's like a big, I hate this phrase, big swing. But Emma Stone really carries the strange, she starts the movie and she's doing what I would call an elevated Borat impression, and I was mad at her. I thought we were going to get that the whole movie. And then something, without giving it away, her character evolves in an AI algorithmic way. She gathers more information and the character evolves. And what she becomes is still a funny, kind of robotic character, but it's very lived in. I don't know. You end up loving it. I ended up thinking of the movie as an experiment.
Film.
Yes, you end up thinking of the movie as an experiment and more like, we're in the thrall of this amazing comic actress. So
yeah,
I don't even know what I would say my favorite movie of the year is, though. Nothing is like 5 stars to me. I thought Passages was amazing. Got a couple nominations here for that.
And then we have Best Picture Drama, which is Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Past Lives, The Zone of Interest, and Anatomy of a Fall.
I have not seen Zone of Interest yet, but I feel like that will be the one to take it. I don't know. I was talking to someone recently, and I feel like us gays get so mired in talking about who our favorite actress is, and then come award season, it's like going to be Oppenheimer who takes everything.
Right. You know what's interesting? I feel like Cillian Murphy is actually not that strong a front runner. We kind of are assuming he's going to take that category because he's the lead in the gigantic drama of the year that everybody saw. But I have to say, I feel like, I don't know if it's this year, but soon, we're going to fast track the Paul Giamatti Oscar win. I don't know when it's going to be, but they're not facing each other in the Golden Globes, obviously, because it's a difference between drama and comedy. But Paul Giamatti and The Holdovers, have you guys seen that movie? You haven't, Ira.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, it's a role that fits him like a glove, but at the same time, that fit makes you immediately fall in love with the movie and the time and the place and the feel of it. And he's undercredited anyway, so I'm sort of waiting for that moment. I don't know that I need Cillian Murphy to win an Oscar this year. That's all I have to say about that.
I'd give him an Oscar for Wilfred.
Wow, remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Rats.
Yes.
They were talking. Cillian is up against Bradley Cooper, Leonardo DiCaprio, Coleman Domingo, Andrew Scott, and Barry Keoghan. A very queer category.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that. I would give it to... I don't know who I would give it to in this. I have not seen Maestro yet.
That's the one I haven't seen.
But I will say that Leonardo DiCaprio did not wow me in Killers of the Flower Moon.
No.
He was fine. Andrew Scott is very good in All of Us Strangers, in a film that I think is just fine and made me angry at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm very angry with this movie, and I love Andrew High. Director.
Feels like there's a real difference between how gay guys perceive this movie and straight people perceive this movie. I feel like they're likelier to love it than gay people who,
What
live
straight
these
people do you
experiences.
know have seen this movie already?
I know. I'm inventing an entire category here, but hypothetically, if they
Claire
did see
Foy's
this.
husband. Actually, I will say that for me, the standout performances in this movie are Claire Foy and Jamie Bell. Period.
Jamie Bell, I know I said this before when fucking Kate Mara was here. He is so good in Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool with Annette Bening, who I guess is just not getting nominated for shit this year and not yet. And I still think she kind of slayed.
We need his time, okay? We need Jamie Bell's time, okay?
Yeah.
I want to ring them bells in more ways than one.
Gross.
And I would say that Barry Keoghan, girl, I'm not going to talk about whatever it was that was going on in Saltburn again. Some of the girls gagged for it. Some of the girls were literally gagging. He was gagging on Jacob Elordi's cum in that bathtub. I think that Barry Keoghan is always good, but there's nothing to work with here. Zac Efron was not nominated, and Iron Claw was basically shut out by the Globes, and that is who I would actually give the Globe to. It's who I'd actually maybe give the Oscar to.
Wow.
Interesting.
It was one of my favorite male performances of the year, aside from Charles Melton in May, December. So I would actually give it to Coleman Domingo, who I think is great in Rustin and elevates what is kind of like a fine biopic.
He's so great. He's always so great, but that movie is so mid, and he does not really have any chance to shine. If it had been slightly gayer, I would be totally with you.
Yeah, I would describe it as mid too. Love him. And of course, he just pops up legally in every A24 joint. So
no, truly. I actually really like Bradley Cooper in this movie. I describe his performance as John Travolta in Hairspray, just sort of having, queening out, as they say, in this fucking movie. Listen, wait till you see the damn movie. He's having fun. I do think he's a better director than actor here, at least, though.
Okay. Hey, Carrie, look around. He started out like that.
So I'm going to move on to the actors category, which, as I understand it, is the only category that actually exists. I don't know what these other things are. But
actresses is who we care about. So
yes. Drama,
what do you think of this category?
Yeah, Lily Gladstone, Carey Mulligan, Sandra Hüller, Annette Bening, Greta Lee, and Kaylee Spaney. By the way, this is the year of Sandra Hüller.
Truly.
I don't know how... Did we talk a lot about Anatomy of a Fall yet?
I haven't seen it yet, so...
Oh, my God. I mean,
I'll
to
check
my
back
eyes,
in.
Same.
There's no competition in terms of who gave the best performance of the year. What she does in that movie is so... It's such an undertaking, and yet she's so unpretentious. It doesn't feel like she's making actorly choices. She's just inhabiting the role. Interesting movie. Easier movie to admire than love for me. Have you seen it, Juan?
No, not yet. Neither that or what's the other one she's in?
Oh, yeah, Zone of Interest, which is why it's the year of this woman, Sandra Hüller. But in this film, she's in this giant ski house with this husband. They have a particular relationship. He ends up dead, and then she's on trial for it. And you go through this process of questioning who she is and how the press is maligning her. Yes,
a woman on trial for murder.
Yes,
you should have told me that. You should have just told me this is Ira Bain. It's also French. Come on.
And also,
have you ever seen Toni Erdmann?
Oh, sure. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, she was fantastic in that. So I mean, I'm inclined to believe she's terrific in these two as well.
Yes. Just know that it is extremely worth seeing. And in fact, when I saw it with my friend Nico at the Grove, who was getting their fucking parking ticket behind us, like validated on the way out, Charles Melton. And so all I know is that's probably the last moment he could just go to the Grove like that. It was really bone chilling. And then secondly, he must be running scared. He knows that Anatomy of a Fall is that girl too.
You know what? I will say that Charles Melton has taste. If you've read interviews with him too, he is a consumer of film.
Oh, yes.
And I think that a lot of people would make jokes about the Riverdale cast and CW, etc. But I think that cast is fucking great, to be honest. I think Lily Reinhart is a star as well, and she's going to get more. And it really is taking us back to the shit that we grew up with, right? Like, how many people came out of the WB who are fucking fantastic?
Right.
I mean, Dawson's Creek alone, Katie Holmes and Michelle Williams. So,
Speaking of,
and then
I feel
Joshua
like
Jackson is, running around dating every famous black woman he can. So
yeah, he's with Lupita Nyong'o, and I don't think we've ever known who she was dating before, have we?
We sort of did, but it wasn't like a public relationship. But now they are ready to be papped.
I guess. Which, by the way, speaking of ready to be papped, you know who else is fucking together? Jewel and Kevin Costner. What the hell is that?
Oh.
Yeah.
Any questions?
She's fucking with the wolves. Okay.
Yeah. Yellowstone and Yellowknife are together. That's an Alaska joke. No.
She used to live in the back of her car, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much car sex do you think she's had?
Well, in Alaska, what the fuck else are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
If you're not racing sled dogs, baby, you're fucking.
Anyway, I don't know. I'm thinking about Jewel having car sex, but if you live in your car, I mean, that's probably where you do it, right?
That's your home. Yeah, right. Moving on.
Right. As far as these women, for me, I have not seen Anatomy of a Fall yet, and so this might change. I also still need to see Nyad, and more and more people are telling me that I need to see Nyad. So
it is
I'm going to be seeing it.
daffy screenplay. But yes, Annette Bening is truly amazing. And it is such a story that if I tell you the script, you'll be like, yes, of course, this woman swimming, X amount of hours is such an insane feat. But once you see it on her face, like the bruises, the emotional bruises, you truly are just like, this is a performance.
And again, you just want to see, I mean, like, we don't get this role all the time of like, alpha, bitch, I'm fucking gonna be swimming this fucking channel. I don't care what they say about me. I just like, there's the tone that she gives is so, I mean, apparently everyone is defined as in terms of likable or unlikable. And she inhabits unlikable in such a fucking rad way in this movie. So I have to root for it almost on principle.
Okay. Well, I'm going to abstain from this category for now, but for me, the best performance of the year from a woman is Emma Stone in Poor Things. And
absolutely.
So we can talk about actress in a motion picture, musical, or comedy, which is Fantasia Barrino for The Color Purple, Jennifer Lawrence, No Hard Feelings. Yes, I fucking love that movie.
Me too. Excuse me.
Sure
somebody at work was trashing this fucking movie yesterday. I went fucking Sissy Spacek in the bedroom dishes breaking about this shit.
What could you possibly... I mean, I feel like you either love it or you're meh on it. How could you possibly trash it?
They were just like, oh, it's, a rom-com trying to be all these other rom-coms of the past. I thought Jennifer Lawrence and Andrew Barth Feldman were perfectly matched in a way that, like, if I'm casting a movie, that would not have been intuitive to me. No. He has a particular energy, and it's not, you almost feel like it's not like she dominates the screen when she's on it. She's merely charming. But the two of them together are a perfect match. It's really great.
In a rom-com that has a fucking budget, mind you, by the way, that was sort of my biggest takeaway from seeing that. I'm like, okay, some money was spent here.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Netflix cared.
Natalie Portman in May December. Alma Poisty in Fallen Leaves. Have not seen.
Haven't seen that.
Margot Robbie in Barbie. I think people are pushing for Emma Stone, and
she's gonna win this. She's gonna win this. Yeah.
I also have no concept of where Barbie is currently in the collective consciousness.
Right.
Especially in terms of award season, right? Everyone loves it, but
I'm here, by the way. Didn't love it. Yes, right.
Well, you know what? We're not bringing that back up.
Okay, well, I am, because those commenters fucking sucked and they were wrong. Yeah.
No, like, this is a movie
for women. No, it's not. Bitch, it's for everybody. Yeah.
It's one of those things where you do sort of want to see that movie and get rewarded in some way, but once you stack it up against everything else that's come out since, it's like, well, the reward has been rewarded already. I don't know that it needs nominations even at this point.
It made $1 billion. Great.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
I would also give it to Emma. Sorry. I think she is a clown, and I say that with the utmost love and affection. We don't have enough serious clowns.
Okay.
Yeah, truly.
No, she's like the reigning actress who you're like, thank God she's hosting SNL. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It gives her like 70 zany things to do that she will be up for. It's not contrived in any way. She never seems contrived.
No.
That's maybe the greatest compliment I could give her.
And I heard, being the resident Broadway co-host, I heard her Sally Bowles in Cabaret was phenomenal. And I'm sad because there were rumors they were going to bring it back after COVID with her instead of this cockamamie Eddie Redmayne production. But all to say, I heard Emma was fabulous, and I've seen some footage, and she was
Eddie Redmayne will sure take any role where he gets to look like a ventriloquist dummy. I mean, he just loves that shit.
He's got to shake off the Stephen Hawking, okay?
Yeah.
That's an Easter egg. for later.
Yeah,
right. Okay, to wrap this up with our films, we already talked a bit about Paul Giamatti for best performance by an actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. He's up against Nicolas Cage, Chalamet, Matt Damon, Joaquin Phoenix, and Jeffrey Wright. All I have to say is I am very excited to see Wonka this weekend.
Apparently people fucking love it. Yeah.
I am not,
I don't know
because
about all that.
I am not, because it has wiped Renaissance off of a lot of IMAX screens, and that was kind of what I was planning to do this weekend.
Yeah, I think I saw like the
racist.
last possible Renaissance screening like the other night. I finally got around to it, and I'm sad that it.
What could be
Wonka may
possibly
interrupt.
gained from seeing Wonka on IMAX?
Yeah, not much. Also, I have to say, I want to quote my friend Alonso Duralde, who's a film critic now for a site called The Film Verdict. But he is a Willy Wonka stan, the original, the 1971. And I wanted his opinion specifically on this movie. And apparently he says, think of it more as Paddington 3 than Willy Wonka 2, and you will leave satisfied. Because I have to say, the reviews for this movie, as everyone's like delighted by Timothée Chalamet in this movie, when you look at a review of the old Willy Wonka, that's not really the vibe of Willy Wonka. It's more like I was disturbed, and every once in a while he hit a whimsical note. Nothing about it is I'm charmed by how fucking odious all the adults in this movie are.
I think also we're just happy to be charmed by Timothée Chalamet,
Yes.
who gives off charming in general, but has been playing some like nasty roles lately that aren't really charming.
Some
So,
Shia LaBeouf-esque roles, if you will. Yes.
Okay, take the flesh out of your teeth and let's eat some chocolate. So this one I would probably give to, Joaquin Phoenix will probably get it, even though I fucking hate that movie. I would give it to Jeffrey Wright, actually, who is very good in American Fiction.
I'm excited to see that. I will be watching that this weekend.
And then we've got Best Supporting Actor, which combines the categories. We've got Willem Dafoe, Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, Charles Melton, Mark Ruffalo. No one I enjoyed more than Charles Melton, period. Although Mark Ruffalo is so fucking good in Poor Things, and it's nice to see Mark Ruffalo being good and funny on screen again instead of trying to get me to vote for Biden.
It took a bit for me to warm up to his performance, though. I'll say something about his early scenes were just, we're going to be doing this sort of dandy character, huh? And then once it was just like, okay, he's the foil, I sort of tapped in. But
I actually preferred Willem Dafoe in this movie, and I also preferred Rami Youssef. I thought he was fabulous.
Rami is so fucking good. Yes. I can't believe Taylor Swift went to see his show.
He also has the funniest line in the entire film when he first steps into the doctor's house, which had one person laughing in the theater. It was me, but I'll leave it to listeners to decipher once they see it.
Willem is also really fucking good too. Everyone is on their A game in Poor Things, except for Gerard Carmichael. Moving on. Supporting actress.
Speaking of, before we move on, I feel like all these actors, I don't know if these Letterboxd interviews are just getting like shuffled on over to me and my algorithm, but I keep finding out what everybody's favorite movies are. And I have to say, most of the actors, like Willem Dafoe, whatever he said, but like very impressive. Like everybody's seen a lot of interesting things. And then I saw an interview where Julianne Moore of May December was asked what her favorite Beyonce song was. And she unfortunately just goes, well, it has to be Single Ladies, right? And I was like, no, Julianne, it can be anything else.
All the single ladies.
Yes,
she said all the single ladies.
No.
Girl.
Oh, my God. Let's get an Apple Music subscription going. Come on.
Just like, and I know they always want to say what's hot or whatever is going on. And I guess, granted, she was asked this song. It's not when someone asked Anne Hathaway what she's listening to. She's like, I'm really loving Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Okay, girl, we get it.
So you've been to Target. Okay. And yeah. All right, great.
Okay, last category: Emily Blunt, Danielle Brooks, Jodie Foster, Julianne Moore, Rosamund Pike, Divine Joy Randolph for Best Supporting Actress. Baby, nobody but Danielle Brooks needs to show up.
I think I would vote Danielle, but I am okay with the Divine Joy Brown Oscar win, and it seems like we're shaping up to head that way. She's won everything so far. A good role, sort of like a standard supporting role in a movie where it's like she has an emotional backstory, but she ends up being won over by the leads of this, and they end up having a camaraderie. Anyway, but she is a great actress.
Yeah. All right. Those are the Globes. And we're ready to officially start the show.
Okay.
Our guest this week is Krystal Joy Brown, who is delighting audiences and, in Juan's words, riling up the gays in Merrily We Roll Along, currently on Broadway. We're going to chat with her this week. And then our topics this week are, we're going back to Gag City one more time to talk about Pink Friday 2, and also the release of Tate McRae's sophomore album. Is she a potential mother? We'll find out. And then Juan and I have a theater segment. We're going to talk about shows that we've seen this season that we would suggest that you go see, and chat just a bit too about our favorite shows that we've seen in New York this year.
I hope you guys wear comedy and tragedy masks and have a gay old time.
2 gays talking theater in Midtown. It's not been done.
No, right. Good luck to you both.
All right, we will be right back with more Keep It. So this week, we took a musical journey. We took a trip that started in Canada with new pop girly Tate McRae. Then we eased on down the road to the wonderful land of Gag City.
Oh.
This Pink Friday 2 finally dropped. Let's talk about Tate first, because I think this will be the easiest. There's not as much to chew on. It's really just a pop album. I think that she has really been delivering a lot of great performances. She just performed at GAY at Heaven in London, which I think is kind of inspired. She's already got the US gays chatting about her, so why not get those blimey
Blokes.
Brits, those blokes chatting about her album, and it's gonna go viral online anyway. So what do we all think about Think Later? Think now and let me know what you think.
I will say first, something about her in general is just taking a minute to grow on me in terms of like even remembering the songs. Like I keep knowing she did a song called Greedy, and I'm like, how does it go? So then I put it out again. I'm like, okay, I do like the song. I think there's also something about her vocally that doesn't demand a lot of attention. I'm not saying she's not a good singer, but the like garbled baby voice thing is a little bit like in the pocket of how everybody sounds. Yes. And so I'm sort of waiting for a breakout identity moment from her. Now, I would say the same thing about people like Ava Max, who is like my #1 listen of the year. That said, I feel like her songs go a little harder, have like more of like a thumping dance momentum. And so I'm likelier to put those on, say, in the car.
Tate is on Gerber Records.
Yes.
So, it makes sense. Juan, what do you think?
The more I listen to it, the more I realize I am absolutely fine with it. There's just this there's this hurdle I can't jump where I just feel like I as a quote unquote grown man have no business listening to this. Something about it is just this is not for me. And I'm Carly Rae Jepsen. Truther does not begin to cover it, so this absolutely is for me. Something about it.
Carly's for old gay men, okay?
The young at heart.
I didn't see nobody Gen Z at that concert.
No, they're really.
No, you have to be exactly 30. You have to be a Barry's Silver member, and you have to be 37 in order to go to the Carly Jepsen. Yeah.
Look, talk about berries. A lot of the songs on this album sound like what they play when they blow out the candle at Soul Cycle and you're supposed to be inspired by God or whatever. It's nice. It has a sort of, I don't know. There's just this discarded Ariana vibe that I can't really let go of all over this album.
I never thought to compare her to her, but that does make sense.
Cut My Hair and X's. I mean, even the song title Greedy. I don't know. A lot of it.
Also, here's the thing about the song X's. Does X's rhyme with necklace? I think I disagree. I don't know that I wish she did that.
I saw a very stupid tweet today, and I'm pretty sure it was just from some faggot trolling for interactions or replies. They probably have a hidden blue check or something. But it was confused about the line, change my mind up like origami or whatever. And it's like that's one of the easiest lines.
No, it's very
origami.
You are folding papers. It's a lot of changing going on. Yeah.
I love that game, by the way.
Not really a game. It's just a Japanese art of paper folding, but okay.
Yeah, but when you do the origami
I see what you're saying.
the fortune cookie.
Yeah.
The fortune cookie. Yeah.
And you like open a flap and it's like number 2 and it says you're gay or whatever. I don't know what it says.
That was just you.
Yeah, right. Damn it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll say this though. Greedy does have this sort of like say it right quality of like things have slowed down and I am in love with the club aesthetic that I respond to.
She's not giving like sad girl bops, which is nice. It's not Boy Genius. It's not. It's not. I'm not slitting my wrist here. It is lower tempo, very say it right, very that kind of 2000s pop, where it's mid tempo. It's a little sexy. You can still hear it in the club, maybe, but it's not. It's Danger didn't produce this. It's Britney, but it's not giving Blackout.
Yeah. I would say in sentiment, it's a lot of Olivia Rodrigo too. Kind of like breakup-y vibes, but I'm still hot.
Yeah,
sure.
We're still recovering from Lana Del Rey's debut in the pop scene. A lot of people are always talking about the 2000s and when we had, banger pop music. And I think once Lana Del Rey hit the scene, things really sort of shifted, and all the pop girls are really still giving you that kind of slowed down vibe that really
moaning
works
from the
for
crypt.
Lana.
Yes, moaning from the crypt.
But everyone can't be that stitched up bitch from Nightmare Before Christmas. Okay?
No, and
Lana
what?
Del Rey can.
Back to the Golden Globes. I need this to end because I need Dua, not because I love her Barbie song all that much, but I need just fun movie songs to win awards again instead of just this sad shit. So I will be rooting for the Dua Oscar here.
What I was made for is a gorgeous song. Billie sings it beautifully, but damn, does every song that's winning an Oscar have to be like a slow, sad ballad again? Like,
also,
remember Against All Odds?
Yeah, right.
Remember Flashdance?
Last Dance from Thank God It's Friday? That's what used to be a movie song, right? Also, did you know that Billie Eilish would have, this isn't that surprising. She could be the youngest person to win 2 Oscars. There's only been 2 actors who've won 2 Oscars before the age of 30. It's Jodie Foster and Louise Reiner. Look up the 1930s. But Billie Eilish...
Shirley Temple ain't getting none for her good ship lollipopping.
Good ship lollipop. That's what she calls it when she performs at Gag City, I guess. Okay.
That's a residency.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Billie Eilish, I should have done a Keep It to Billie Eilish, by the way, but I'm going to stay out of women's business. I will just say that if you're going to give an interview with a magazine and talk about being attracted to women and being queer, and then someone follows it up with you on a carpet, it might be uncomfortable and you might not have wanted to specifically talk about it, but it is not outing you. And so to send people after the journalist who brought that up, send your fans after them is very silly, but also she's young. So I'm not going to, attack her for that. But I'm just saying it's not outing. And I felt who I was really mad at was adult journalists feeding into that.
She has that Elle Fanning thing of, are you still 20? Jesus Christ. Why does time work for the rest of us? I don't understand.
The same age as Tate McRae.
Right.
God.
Crazy. That tall giant. Tate McRae is literally like, if you told me she was from that movie, The Tall Girl, I would believe you.
Oh, her, Tate McRae. Yeah.
Face it, you're the tall girl. Speaking of Billie Eilish, though, she is on Pink Friday too.
Yes.
Which, first of all, Nicki is a liar. Nicki Minaj. I am full barb. Juan knows. We were literally just at Julius this Monday. We were just at Julius on Sunday, singing along to Nicki songs because some barb put like songs from Roman Reloaded and Pink Friday on the jukebox.
Some twink spent $35 playing Nicki Minaj deep cuts at Julius.
And I was like, the ghosts of the Mattachine Society were not having the hat.
They were putting their hands over their cups. They were pissed.
Somebody blew a whole iTunes card on that. Okay.
But remember when Nicki was promoting the album and she said, the first song features Billie Eilish. Well, Phineas produced the first song, but it is really just a sample of When the Party's Over. Billy was not in the studio.
Do we think Nicki also thinks Cyndi Lauper herself is on this album? Because of that sample?
Probably. Which, okay. Pink Friday 2, I'm going to come out and say, I like it.
I like it community. I think it's good. It's you know what the problem is? It's a confirmation of her talents as opposed to a great leap forward. And I think the girl wants a great leap forward.
Yeah, that's truly it for me. I would say that I think that there have been bigger statements from her. I think the Pink Print is very massive in terms of just a rap album.
Yeah.
And I'm a Queen fan, but I feel like when you're going to be a Sagittarius and tell everyone that this is the greatest album ever and you've recorded the best songs of your career, then that is what I want to hear. And the album itself is, you're right, it's a confirmation that Nicki is amazing. I mean, there's
hilarious
great songs on it.
Yeah.
There are great fucking lyrics on it. I really started loving it more once I was sitting down listening to it and looking at the actual lyrics for the songs and seeing her wordplay. But I don't know, like one of my favorite lines is on this song R&B, which has someone called Tate Gobang on it, who sounds a lot like Chris Brown, and I feel like she just was replacing Chris Brown with him. And then Lil Wayne delivers a ho-hum rap that could have been from any of his old songs, but on it, she is so funny. I mean, the line, he was kissing on my thigh and my breast, he two-pieced it. That is funny.
Hilarious.
And that is like her being so funny and so witty, but the rest of the song around it is so ho-hum. So it's like you're giving us a lot of bits and pieces of the Nicki we love, but it's not all matching up to a massive, amazing product. Not that she's ever had a full cohesive album before, but 22 tracks, girl, this is so long. And she's adding more to it.
I would disagree. I mean, look, I think 22 tracks is way too much. And I think sitting down and just, taking the good bits and pieces of each one and assembling them into a solid 16 is better. But looking back at Pink Friday, that had 19 tracks. And I feel like that is, I would say no skips because this is my peak.
I mean, it does have no skips. It does have no skips.
But goddamn, that was a good album. And it had something to say. Why did she call this Pink Friday 2? Is my main question.
Yeah, I agree with that. It should just be it should have been called Gag City. I mean, that's the thing we all fucking left
I feel like she regrets it, and we might just wake up one day and our Spotifys have all changed.
Yes.
I don't actually see what the statement is here either. The statement just seems to be, I'm still the best. Yeah. No one's better than me. We already know that. What else is going on? I love the first track where she's talking about finding out how her father died, where she's talking about having her baby. I think that there's a lot to be said about being an older woman in rap and being a mother now and sort of having something else to say. I compare her a bit to Jay-Z because he's one of my favorite fucking rappers. And I think that over time, Jay-Z also had to acknowledge, and he said it in interviews, that he wasn't rapping about the same shit anymore because he was getting older and that wasn't his life anymore. I was thinking a lot about that with one of my favorite songs on the album, Beep Beep, which she released a version with 50 Cent on it. And 50 Cent has a fine verse on it. But it was also reminding me that 50 Cent has not released an album since that awful 2014 album, Animal Control. And his best work is before that, because when I think about it, what would 50 Cent be rapping about now? Being in the boardroom, producing Power 17,
right. Vitamin
Book
water?
of Ezekiel bread.
Yeah. Also, I would have never said that I needed to hear a chilled out Nicki Minaj, but I really Let Me Calm Down on this album. I'm really sort of warms you up to a slower
and I'm not
version.
a J. Cole fan.
Yeah. But also I've seen online people sort of dogging the response to this album by saying, oh, gays expected a pop album when it's a fucking rapper. But I think the genius of Nicki Minaj is she routinely plays the part of just rapper while mixing in the occasional really ingratiating pop hook. And I just think you need that marriage a little bit more on a Nicki Minaj album.
We were expecting it because she called it Pink Friday.
Right.
Yeah. The first Pink Friday is a pop rap album. It's
I
both.
went immediately back to Pink Friday and I was like, you know what? Some of these songs sound corny, even though I fucking love every single one of them. But it's like, this was a project. This was her saying, how could I just blow pop straight into rap and have it work? It was the girliest, pinkest, like, it was so delicious and it was so poppy and pink and theater kid. And what is this one exactly?
And also, by the way, I think you need corny sometimes to get the repeat listens. Like, I'm so sorry to bring up this name, but when 1989 came out and the first thing you hear is fucking Shake It Off, it's like, it will bring me to murder if I ever hear that song again. But there's something about the hook and like how it's just like that undeniable catchy thing that just makes you go back to the album and knows there's something there for you that's already in your brain, that's already lodged itself there. And I feel like there's lots of stuff on this album that takes 3 or 4 listens to settle.
Yeah, I mean, I actually disagree with Lewis. I think I love a mellowed out Nicki. I'm an unpopular Ganja Burns fan off of Queen. But I remember she tweeted, I don't know, back in July when she was like, album drops this week. She had tweeted that the ideal way to listen to this is like in the bathtub with a blunt or something. I would love that, but this was just giving like Xanax in 2015. Not exactly I'm lighting up here.
I listened to this and loved it the most when I walked to the Flatiron Trader Joe's and walked back.
That's what she was going
what?
for, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, listen, it was upbeat in the beginning, with the pop hits, and then when we got to the slower stuff, I was looking around the grocery store, and then when it was upbeat, then once I was getting the Cyndi Lauper sample, the Junior sample with everybody, the sample of Move Your Feet, then I was walking back home with my groceries. So
wow, this is music to pick out sliced mango to. I'm sure that's what she intended.
That is what the Cyndi Lauper sample is giving, and I do think, oh my god, the fucking Heart of Glass sample is unforgivable.
Yeah, that I would describe as like a failed experiment, basically. Even though I feel like Heart of Glass should be sampled way more often. Obviously, that's the reason we have Work It by Missy Elliott, which is a Heart of Glass sample.
I think that we also just need more nasty beats from her. I mean, work with Diplo again, but when you think about Pink Friday, when you think about songs like Did It On 'Em, right? Like the beats just sound weird. And I want Nicki rapping over a weird, interesting beat instead of Nicki rapping over a song that I've heard on
TikTok.
The TikTok or the oldies station when I was growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I think
she should be beyond this. She should be beyond the sampling. And I'm not saying that sampling is. There's been so much fucking debate about sample. Renaissance had samples, and I'm like, yeah, okay. But you can barely tell what some of the samples are on that, right? Yeah. I just don't want to hear Cyndi Lauper singing the whole entirety of Girls Just Want to Have Fun in the background, because I'm also sick of that fucking song, and everyone sampled it.
I had my time with Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I simply am done with it.
Yeah. What about She Bop? Or
Holding My Heart All the Way to China, please. Yeah,
that Goonies song.
All Through the Night,
tap
which is
into
a
your
cover.
theater ruse and do a Kinky Boots sample.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. How about a Tony-winning female composer, motherfucker?
Okay. Lastly,
put Jake Shears on.
I'd be interested to hear that, Nurj.
Honestly, Jake Shears, great collabo with Azalea. Shady Love.
I don't know that I know that.
Shady Love, which was on the album with Let's Have a Kiki. It was originally supposed to be produced. I think Azalea produced on it, but it's not ultimately credited. When you go and listen to it, you can tell Azalea's influence and maybe hear a bit of the vocals.
Oh, she sure.
Shady Love.
Uncredited vocals.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Uncredited vocals. Azalea Banks. And it sounds good. And my last thing I want to say about Nicki is Taylor and Beyonce dominated the year. And they had Renaissance and eras, yes, but they also were sort of just on tour, so we saw them all the time, but also they made these big public appearances on red carpets, right? And everything that we're seeing and hearing about Nicki right now is coming from her Calabasas home, which I do not think she's left. I'm wondering if an old witch gave her an apple or something, or
she's
if
in a
her
turret.
mother like locked her up in a tower or something. Nicki, leave the house. Okay?
Yeah.
Sachin told you to get back you need to get back in the studio. Okay, but now you need to get back in the streets. Okay? Because you're giving Phantom of the Opera, you're giving Dracula, leave the crypt. And then I feel like Nicki will have something else to rap about. Like she needs to be in the streets, interacting with people again. And that will sort of re-inspire her. I think she's plenty inspired, has plenty to rap about, but we just need more of that. And honestly, people talking about like the beefs on the album and who she's referencing, like give us more of that, but give us new beefs, you know?
Yeah, don't be
One
a
of
super
our
freaky
favorite lines,
recluse.
by the way.
Right.
Stay in your Tory lane, bitch. I'm not Iggy. I cackled.
But again, that takes you right back to 2015. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
even
like
before
an
that,
Iggy-
she's a great cypher rapper. Like Beam Me Up Scotty, like her Barbie World unofficial mixtape. Like give me more of that. You know, just
Girl,
like dirty
Beat Me Up
raps.
Scotty, still my favorite.
Oh, truly.
But that's the other thing about Iggy. I'm not discrediting her for having beefs with people or, you know, naming people, because God knows I love the Jay-Z and Nas's vintage beef, you know, Ether and that shit. But I will just say that we haven't heard from Iggy since like 2015, as you said, Lewis. So it's a great line and I cackled and I love it. But think about if you want to be the person raising Iggy's Google alerts.
Right.
You know? Like,
you're platforming her in a way. You know what I mean?
You are.
Yeah.
Okay? You're Z-Way interviewing George Santos. Okay?
Yeah.
Well,
that's going to be a make or break moment for Z-Way. We'll see. She looks sensational in the stills we've seen. But
girl, yeah, she looks fucking great. And let everybody know you got a Birkin, girl.
Yeah.
Did you steal it from Julia Fox? I need to know. All right. When we are back, we are joined by Krystal Joy Brown of Merrily We Roll Along. Keep It is brought to you by Nuts.com. At the grocery store, you can get pecans. But don't you want bourbon pecans, sweet and spicy pecans, pecan brittle, or butter toffee pecans? If you're eager to try these, head to Nuts.com to see the hundreds of different varieties of nuts that they offer. Nuts.com is your one-stop shop for freshly roasted nuts, dried fruit, sweets, pantry staples like specialty flours, and more. Their wide selection means there is something for everyone. At Nuts.com, quality is a top priority. They roast their nuts and pop their corn the same day it ships, so they reach you deliciously fresh. Satisfaction is guaranteed. If you're walking around New York City, there's a lot of nut stores lately, and there's a lot of nuts. Rim shot. Anyway, Nuts.com is where you need to go to get the nuts that you want in your mouth. Okay? You can shop a la carte anytime or opt into hassle-free auto deliveries so that you never run out of your favorite items. And if you're already stocked up at home, they also sell directly to businesses. Okay? Stock your office with some pecans. Right now, Nuts.com is offering customers a free gift with purchase and free shipping on orders of $29 or more at Nuts.com/keepit. So go check out all the delicious options at Nuts.com/keepit. You'll receive a free gift and free shipping when you spend $29 or more. That's Nuts.com/keepit. Our guest today is someone who is taking over Broadway. After making her presence known with roles like Diana Ross in Motown and Eliza Schuyler in Hamilton, she's now dropping jaws in the revival of Merrily We Roll Along, giving us a take on Gussie we haven't seen before. Please welcome to Keep It, the mystifying Krystal Joy Brown.
Well, I've never been called mystifying. I will receive that. Thank you so much. Happy to be here. Big fan of the show.
Thank you. You told us that before, and Lewis and I, of course, were shocked as always.
She's
And
lying.
deflected.
It just can't be
It's
true.
not Taylor Swift shock, where she's always shocked that there's like 9,000 people seeing her in the stadium. It's always genuine shock. I'm like, people still listen? So thank you.
Oh, yeah. Listening. And I mean, even your gift guide last week, I got several of those things. I'm into it. So.
Oh, wow. We can't be actually influencing people. That's disgusting.
You are. I have the Criterion channel. I mean, I'm trying to keep up with you guys.
Okay, never mind. An acolyte. All right.
Yes.
So I say mystifying because, basically you're misting Jonathan Groff in this. So tell us about working with two icons, I guess, Jonathan Groff and Daniel Radcliffe making his return to stage.
Oh man, both of them are exceptional human beings. Like they're both actually, Jonathan is actually as sweet and gooey as you have heard, and Dan is neurotic as you probably imagine, and that's why we bond so well because we're both crazy perfectionists. But they're both really easy, and I thought, because I'm a big Harry Potter fan, but I could not tell Dan that because that would have been very embarrassing. But I was expecting to be so nervous and that they would be so kind of I've met Jonathan around, so I kind of knew him, but I thought maybe Dan would be, it may be intimidating, but not at all. We did this downtown in basically a basement theater, 199 seats. We had 4 dressing rooms between 20 people. So we were kind of in the trenches, and we just bonded like that. They're great. They're easy. They're funny. We have a great time. And I get to call Dan a driven little runt, and I get to scream at Jonathan as my husband.
What's it like working on a show where it has the most devoted small theater crowd, like the Merrily We Roll Along obsessives, and then a whole other group of people who don't know anything about this show? It feels like there's no in between. You can't be like, oh, I'm a kind of a casual fan of Merrily We Roll Along. It's either stan or completely unfamiliar.
Oh man, I mean, I love when people don't know anything about it because then they can come in really fresh. But then it's also great to have a lot of people who have been obsessed with the show for the last, it's been around for 42 some odd years, and it's become kind of a cult classic and a thing that was it just doesn't work, so it's always amazing to talk to them and be like, oh, well, somehow, some way you guys are making it work. And then also for the people that I talked to after the show that was it took me until 1962 to realize it was going backwards. Which actually happens a lot. So the one thing I do tell people is hey, just know this show goes backwards from 1976 to 1956. But yeah, it's you want to try to please everybody, but really we just focused on trying to make the most honest, vulnerable story that we could, because you want the Sondheim stands are going to be the purest and whatnot, but that doesn't allow you to have a lot of freedom. So it was nice to kind of just let that go and allow us to just play in it and find it for ourselves. I mean, there was a lot of crying in this rehearsal process. There was a lot of baring our souls and being really honest, because it's about artists in New York City who make sacrifices for their dreams, which I think a lot of us can relate to. So it was therapeutic and cathartic and painful.
Yeah, this is sort of, famously Sondheim's problem show. Even the stands, I think, they take pride in sort of loving Sondheim's problem show. No one's cracked it, whatever. What were the conversations like when you were, workshopping this at Theater Workshop? Did you all sort of chip in? Did Maria Friedman, who's the director and sort of visionary for this, did she come in with her idea set? And how do you tackle what is known so famously as a problem show?
Oh gosh, I think Maria definitely came in with a strong vision, but what I do appreciate is that we sat, and this is what I love about theater, is we kind of went back to almost acting school 101, where we sat in a circle and talked about our characters and how each character knew each other. Every single person on that stage has a connection to each other in some way. Every character, even if you think they're just moving a chair, no, they're not. They are connected to the whole story in a major way. And so I loved the ability that Maria gave us within the parameters of it's very similar to the staging and whatnot is very similar to the 2013 in London production. So there's a lot of that, but then within it, we added so much diversity. We added, and I think also just an extra layer of depth, and then simplified some things. I think this is a piece that works if people can just be really focused and honest and lean into what is being said and what is happening, because there's not a lot of big sets. There's not a lot of big movements. I mean, we have, a curtain that drops, but it's pretty basic. It's very like just actors. You're almost feeling like you're in the living room with us and we're telling you a story. So I think having Maria allow the space for us to play and to add and to take away from the production and vision that she already had was helpful. And her having a very like strong vision was great, but you always have to like let your artist breathe into it and breathe new life into it. And like, I mean, we're talking about the 1970s to the 1950s, and they cast a black Gussie. And that changes things a lot in a story without having to change any of the words or point to it and say Black Gussie. Like it just changes it without even having to add that. And so I think that was like a really interesting thing to do by adding that layer, because then you can even see like more isolation, more division, and then even have an imagination of what it had to be like for a woman of color to be successful, famous, going through all the steps to secure some success and like what she has to do to hold on to it.
Yeah, what's so exciting to me is that I was really only familiar with the 1981 production. And so Gussie is so much bigger, larger than life in this. And there's Gussie songs, where you get to really do a lot more in the show. Can you tell us a bit about, I guess, just tackling Sondheim in general? What was your familiarity with Sondheim and his lyrics before, and what was your approach to, singing these songs? Because I feel like everyone always has a different approach to how do we get into Sondheim and make it feel natural in your voice as you're singing it, because, you hear people singing Sondheim songs and you're like, you put 50 words into one line.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting piece, because it was like right before he went into that like really like patter kind of thing that that is very, very known for. So this was like that bridge of his styles. This production, this song, the music in this show is kind of different from like an Into the Woods, but there are like Easter eggs of all of that music that kind of tie along. And of course, we're working with the Sondheim estate. We're working with Maria Friedman, who was best friends with Sondheim. So anytime I'm like, I just want to do a riff here, they're like, no. Or I'm like, I'm going to sneak it in. Or, like just little things here and there that could make it feel as, it's, true to the period, and also to give it my own something. And that's what I was thinking of, too. I was thinking of, like, how would Eartha Kitt sing this song? How would Diane Carroll sing this? Or Diana Ross sing these songs? Like that, I was thinking of those women, of like those performances and their tones, and even just the way that they speak, and adding that and being like oddly enough, thinking about it, like you think you have to add so much to this, but you really don't. It's like I try to pay attention to the time that we're in. I try to pay attention to like the music and the lyrics itself, which are strong enough. The thing I think that made this show constantly endure the test of time was the music is actually really beautiful and strong. So, I wanted to add some sultriness and a little bit of, riffing here and high notes and big notes there. And they were actually very okay with it. They allowed me to play a bit. But there are moments where they're like, that is a straight tone. Do not do anything. And you breathe on this note. And it can be very strict, but it's also, it's kind of amazing to play with something that is really, really well known, and for people to be able to come to it and say, okay, you made it your own, but you didn't distort what my vision of it is, which is I hope what is happening.
Now, it's interesting that you brought up Diana Ross, who you've, of course, played in Motown. Is that just a character you can immediately draw from? Is she on the tip of your tongue at all times? Like somebody who's always just kind of there for you? I'm sure you have it down to a science the way, I don't know, Eddie Redmayne had Stephen Hawking down or something.
I think it took me 2... Yeah, I think...
That reference.
I know. Why did I choose that? Poor you. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he's still trying to shake that. I did have Diana face for I did have Diana
Me
face
too,
for like
sometimes.
years.
Yep.
You know, that smile, like the kind of like just like the shoulders and the eyes. Like you do lean into that when people have such strong mannerisms. But yeah, I just when I got that role, all I did was just start watching every YouTube that there was of her being interviewed because I wanted to see how she walked, how she talked, how she moved, and then the things that she said that weren't, always just obvious in her performances. And so that was like important to me. And so now I do feel like I got to kind of know her in a very different way and try to inhabit kind of what she did. But it's always you try to draw the essence of someone or something, and then especially when you're playing someone who really exists and still exists, you want to just kind of be like, I'm trying to give you the essence of who they are to the best of my ability. And playing her is fabulous. I mean, those Bob Mackie dresses, like in Motown, I had 20 costumes, I had 12 wigs. It was always amazing and crazy, and it was just like a big exploration of Black excellence and beauty, and it was really fun.
So in doing Diana Ross, is that when you learned how to rile up the gays? Because let me tell you, every day someone I know on Instagram goes to see Merrily, and they are just like so excited to see at Krystal Joy Brown. Like, you could not realize that Jonathan Groff and Radcliffe are in the show. It's like you are the at in everybody's stories right now.
I did not know that, and I mean, I am always
check your mentions.
I wouldn't actually. Let's just leave that one to mystery. Yeah.
Rile up the gays, like that is my goal, to rile up the gays. They rile me up, so like that is the goal. If I can hear a gay gasp when I do when the curtain drops, that's all I need. But yeah, I mean it is really fun, especially this character is completely polarizing, or could be, and every article that's come out, most of them are like, not just a villain, not just a diva. And so it's so easy to write Gussie off as this like, ambitious, social climber that's just like wanting, that says all kinds of ridiculous things like, oh my God, I'm going to open my veins or things like that. I wanted to give her depth and humanity, and also like playing a diva as a Black woman can become so one note and stereotypical. So I had to make sure that I wasn't going to fall into, and I'm always trying to make sure I'm not falling into the pitfalls of that stereotype, because she's a person who has to put on a million different masks. She has to keep shape-shifting in these different scenarios where she is the only one. So I find that to be interesting. And I think like something that all marginalized people can relate to with Gussie is that the shape-shifting, the masking, the presenting, like be palatable, be someone who people want to or believe that they can profit off of or hold on to and elevate them. So I think that that's something that probably the gays are seeing and recognizing, and like also who doesn't like a sparkly gown and feathers?
I mean, listen, it says a lot that you took away from also the grief I experienced at Merrily We Roll Along. We don't have to get into it, but I just need the people listening at home to know that my AirPods were stolen by someone at the matinee audience when I saw that show.
Wow.
And I'm using this now to let someone know that those old people at the matinee shows, they're thieves.
Oh, sure.
Okay? They fell out during intermission, and I was like, oh my God, let me pick them up after, as soon as it went dark. And then I picked them up, and they are gone. And you know where they are now? They're in Denver. So someone snatched them. And that brings me to another mystery that's going on at Merrily We Roll Along.
Lay it on me.
Something else that's missing, like my iPods. Baby, where is Lindsay Mendez? Oh. because she has not been in this show for like a month.
Okay, so I think it's fair to say, Lindsay. So when we first started the show, when we first started performances, our cast got hit with COVID and RSV, like hardcore, and like I think there was like Jonathan was coughing up blood. Everyone was just like so sick. Yeah. Yeah, it's Broadway.
And he already spit so much. He already spit so much on stage. So
that's
like,
karma. Yeah. Right.
But he never missed a show. Okay, like that's a G right there. But like, but Lindsay was coughing so much, and then she had like in her, I think in her chest or her lungs or something, a hemorrhage. So yeah, so it was under doctor's orders that she had to, take some time, which is always extremely frustrating. But we got extended, so there's more time to catch her on the back end. But yeah, it's hard. The 8 shows a week, 6 days a week is really hard. And also, like, she's a mom, and I'm a dog mom, so
they're the same. Done.
So like just different struggles, different battles. But Dan, Jonathan, and I have not missed a show at all. And the end of this week will be our 100th show, including previews.
Jesus.
Just on Broadway or including the theater workshop?
Just on Broadway.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Time rolls along.
It really does. Yeah. But yeah.
Now, do you have a dream role you have not done yet? I always ask this of Broadway people because you can't help, if you're a Broadway type singer growing up, the same shows get brought back again and again. So you must inevitably think, oh, this will roll along back to me and I will get to do this part. Do you have one in particular?
Oh, gosh. I don't know if this is cliche, but honestly, I've replaced in 3 Broadway shows, which is great. And doing a revival is amazing. But to be completely honest, I want to do things that like I completely get to start and stamp for myself. It's always great to like revisit things, but I think I got to do like my dream role, which was Mimi. Like Rent was the show that got me into musical theater and made me be like, oh my gosh, like New York City, diversity, like these people living the artist dream in New York. And I got to play Mimi. That was my first job ever. And then I was like, well, it's downhill from here. No, so from that moment. So I think now like my main goal is like just to create new stuff and to bring more people to the theater and to bring more stories and more humanity to the theater. Yeah. I can't think of like.
Okay, give us a movie then, because it is Broadway, which also means they're going to adapt everything that we've ever seen in theaters and put it on Broadway. Yeah. So what's a movie role where you're like, I want to be that girl, and you're hoping someone adapts it? Because people are listening.
Okay, this is gonna meld all the things that we talked about earlier. But because I've been watching Criterion and there's a Parker Posey like
oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, and I love Parker Posey. And I hope I haven't aged out of this, but I would Party Girl, the musical.
It is just an unbelievable movie. Party Girl. If people haven't seen it, first of all, it's extremely short, so you're not wasting any time watching this movie. It is
it's
banger,
a one-act, honey.
banger
it's a
dialogue.
One-act.
Yes, it's so watchable. It's one of the great performances. It should be regarded equally as much as we love Alicia Silverstone and Clueless. It's from the same exact time, and it's as good. People need to be watching this movie.
It's really great. It's really great, and I think I was watching it, and I was like, oh, this because I'm always. For some reason, I always go into adaptation land. I think because I did Big Fish, I did Leap of Faith. I've done these adaptations to musicals. So I was like, what if like Fiona Apple music could be the part? I'm always trying to figure out what the Fiona Apple musical would be. So like wow. Maybe.
That sounds great. Let's get her on the Great White Way.
It could be site specific in some warehouse somewhere. I mean,
it really could be. There could be a lot going on, a lot of angst. So I think that would be a cool one. I feel like Cool Runnings, the musical.
Wow!
Please,
the best of Disney 1993.
I really just said that for Ira.
You're really trying to rile up the gays now. The Disney gays.
Yeah.
As if they needed riling, God help us. Anyway.
I'm excited for all the new stuff that's coming out. Like, I really enjoyed Back to the Future. I don't know if you guys saw it on Broadway. It's fun. Ira, just like.
I did not, you know what? That was.
I mean, talk about curtains. I did enjoy the 45-minute, technical difficulties curtain that I got stuck with on the show.
I did feel like I was in a ride, like a real ride in the theater. But yeah, I want all this new stuff that's coming out next season is going to be really exciting. It's easy to kind of do the adaptations. I think we're really scared because it's commercial theater. Like people don't even know that it costs so much money to put the show on every every week. You know, we might make 1.8 million, but it costs about $1 million to do a week. So it's crazy. People don't understand like where that goes, but there's so many people we employ. There's so much that goes in and out. So people want to bet on us on something safe. But I hope theater is going to take more risks. I think we can do it.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Krystal. I will be first in line to see you in Cool Runnings. Okay.
But I want to be on the bobsled team. Although you do not want to hear my Jamaican accent.
You don't want to hear mine.
You don't try. No, I do. I love all your accents. Come on, give it to us really quick. Just
are you sure?
Bit.
I can leave.
Where's your bobsled team from? Jamaica.
Oh, wow. You know
That's
what?
it.
You're hired.
For what? You don't want to know.
This episode is brought to you by Cariuma, the cool, sustainable sneaker brand worn and loved by skaters and surfers. They're reimagining classic sneakers with you and the planet in mind. The holidays have arrived, and we have just the thing when it comes to the perfect gift for you and your people. With over 40,000 five-star reviews, Cariuma's got you covered with ultra-comfy and consciously crafted styles that everyone will love. If 40,000 people love them, you can believe there's 40,000 people walking around wearing Cariumas right now. It's giving hands across America, and I'm loving that. So whether you're in the market for your friend who loves a good adventure or the one you can't get out of the city, look no further for the perfect pair. Cariuma's fan-favorite style raked up a wait list of 109,000 people. And lucky for you, it just cleared, baby. The Aka is a timeless classic that comes in LWG-certified leather, suede, and organic cotton canvas for an everyday staple, made to live with you for years to come. And don't miss your chance to grab your new go-tos before they sell out again. Cariuma has new colors, prints, and collabs in their lineup. Pantone Color of the Year is here for the 5th year in a row, and Peach Fuzz is officially the shade of 2024. This one thing I love is peaches and fuzz, like the fuzz on my face. So, Peach Fuzz, 2024, get it on your shoes. It's warm and velvety, and it inspires feelings of community and inspiration for the year ahead. The last 4 Color of the Year drops sold out fast, so do not miss your chance. Cariuma's latest limited edition collaboration with Cricut features fun and dynamic designs that are sure to make a statement. And we know you're a Cricut fan because you're listening to this podcast. So add it to your holiday wish list. Cariuma ships all their sneakers free and fast in the USA and offers worldwide shipping and 60-day free returns. They deliver right to your front door using a single box recycled packaging. And for a limited time, Keep It listeners can get an exclusive 15% off your pair of Cariuma sneakers. Go to cariuma.com/keepit to get 15% off. That's cariuma.com/keepit for 15% off only for a limited time. All right, Lewis is on sabbatical, but just for this segment, since we are blessed with an acclaimed theater critic, we'll get into that. We decided to take this time to go over the current season of Broadway and off-Broadway shows. Hi, Juan.
Thank you for the acclaim. I'm probably certainly the theater critic with the most active Twitter beefs. That's the thing I'll take, I guess.
I have seen you with a Twitter beef in person. We're not going to get into it.
We really don't have to. Suffice it to say that I was attacked outside a theater one time, and also attacked at a Carly Rae Jepsen concert another time.
If you think that theater is not alive and well in New York, I just have to tell you, you have not lived until you were seeing a show with a friend of yours in Brooklyn, and then you step outside and someone has beef with him. So, girl, you're doing it.
It's the drama is on stage, off stage, on the page, on the sites. Yeah, my lord.
Well, let's talk about the stage, okay? Things that are playing now that we are really enjoying, things that are playing now that we're not enjoying. I would say currently it closes on the 17th, so good luck seeing this show. But Stereophonic off-Broadway at Playwrights Horizons is my favorite fucking show of the year.
I absolutely agree, and I come bearing good news with the asterisk that it is a rumor in italics, but I hear that it's transferring to Broadway in the spring. Everybody, okay. This fucking play by David Ajmi with music by Will Butler from Arcade Fire is so good. Don't go into it thinking it's a musical because there are maybe like 6 minutes of music in the entire 3-hour play. But my God, I mean, Ira, you saw
There's more than that. There's like
okay, fine.
There's like half an hour of music.
Perhaps, including like the tune-ups and everything. So it's
Usually the tune-ups thing. Girl, you're lying to these people. But I will say the play is about a up-and-coming rock band. They're recording their second album, and they're sort of on the cusp of superstardom in 1976. And what starts out as a recording session that's supposed to last a month rolls out to basically a year. It is giving, obviously, Fleetwood Mac recording Rumors. And it's good. It's just I don't remember the last time I'd seen a long play like this that wasn't about some message or really trying to teach you something. And it's really people reviewing it as this is important. It's just fun.
Right. Yeah.
It's a good play. It's fun. The characters are good. There's each one feels like an individual. Each one has great interactions with everyone else. It just feels like you're watching real people on stage.
Yeah, and it just takes you so by surprise. I mean, I love a play that slows you down. You know, the first 20 minutes, you're like, what are we doing here? And then you just find yourself listening and seeing everything. And the way this band, which of course, like, the male members and the female members are like in all kinds of, you know, combinations of like fucking, dating, living together, whatever. You just get so engrossed, and the first act is truly like 2 hours. And by the time the curtain came down on that, whatever, I was like, this cannot end, please. We need to talk about Sarah Pigeon, an actor I did not know, but she sort of slowly rises as the lead and the emotional center of Stereophonic. I did not see Tiny Beautiful Things. I guess she was sort of like young Catherine Hahn on that. But, I mean, look, if this goes to Broadway and she does not win the Tony for Best Actress, I will be pissed.
I did not see Tiny Beautiful Things. I was confused at first as to whether or not I'd seen Tiny Beautiful Things because there was that period where every show sort of has the same title.
Little Fires, Beautiful, Big Little, yeah.
Dark,
Everything
Ugly
Everywhere.
Things. There was that ballet show that was on Netflix that was truly horrible that I'm so sad did not get a second season.
Bunheads.
Not that one, bitch. I didn't like Bunheads.
Oh, it had some moments.
Yeah, I'm anti-Bunheads. I'm sorry. Sarah Pigeon is great. Julietta Canfield is really great. I loved her in Succession. I love her on this. Everything about this is really good. The set is great.
Stunning. It's like this like very 70s, you know, North California shag carpet moment. You have the recording, you know, like the, what's it called? The
Recording booth?
technical side. No, because the booth is
The
packed.
soundboard.
You have the
everything.
soundboard first, and then they perform behind, the glass, and it's all live. It sounds fucking incredible. I also hear rumored that an EP is on the way because there are like 5 or 6
I
songs,
need it.
and they
I
are
need it.
amazing.
And I need extra songs too.
Yeah, no, flesh this out. Honestly, give us a mini series after the Broadway run because oh my God, I was so tapped in.
Yeah, Daisy Jones and the Six Found Dead. All right.
Yeah, and it also did the amazing because like nothing will put me off seeing something more than 70s rock band hits bumps on the road to success. Like, this is not.
Oh, that makes me hard.
Oh, I don't know. You didn't see the Almost Famous musical last season? My God.
Oh no, I had the good sense to skip that.
Well, it's being workshopped at the O'Neill Center, which is rare for a show by established artists that has since premiered on Broadway, but it's going back to the O'Neill Center to be workshopped.
Almost.
Long day's journey into getting this play fucking right.
All right. Well, we talked about a play that we loved, and now we're going to talk about Spain, which is off-Broadway at Second Stage. This is a very bad play. It's troubling to me though because I wanted to love it, and there are parts of it that I really do love. But it's sort of this. It's set in 1936, or is it? And it's about a pair of filmmakers who have landed their next project, a sweeping Spanish Civil War film with the potential to change American hearts and minds, but it's bankrolled by the KGB. Ernest Hemingway is a character in it. I thought it started out fun. It's like a spy caper. It's about the film industry. It's about Hemingway and the 1930s and these two people, Andrew Burnap and Marin Ireland.
There's sort of these like Greenwich Village, leftists, whatever, artist people.
I love them. Okay, Marin, first of all, is amazing in Eileen, that psychotic gay movie that Anne Hathaway is in, which you have to go and see. Eileen, it's psychotic.
Yeah, bring Whippets to the theater too, because you cannot believe where that movie ends up.
But this place starts out really fun, and then it sort of devolves into, what am I watching here? And it's funny that the concept of it is these two people have no idea what Spain is. They've never been there, but they're making a movie about Spain. You start to wonder if the playwright Jen Silverman has ever been to Spain themselves.
Yeah, it's very Spain, wine, Hemingway, the Civil War. Like, there's just all this shit happening, and I think also what went wrong, I guess, in the playwriting process is that, like, yeah, like you said, it's these two people who don't know Spain, and they're sort of, figuring out how to tell a story about it on the fly. And there are so many levels of who knows what, who's hiding what from whom, and that I think the playwright themselves sort of forgot who knows anything. And by the end, I can't remember the last time I was this disengaged from a play by the time it ended.
I was angry at the end, by the way. I'm all for twists in plays, but the end really sort of upset me.
I wasn't too pissed because we were 2 rows behind Jake Gyllenhaal, and I was just staring at him.
Yeah, he had a
Nikes great
on.
interested face. He was adjusting his glasses in this like sexy big ass puffer jacket.
I will say that there is a moment where something crazy happens at the play, and Jake is looking around, sort of like, is anyone else getting what's going on? And I did not get what was going on. And then I loved when we left the theater, everyone sort of trying to be near him as they were exiting. Jake Gyllenhaal goes to see theater. Anyway, I saw him at Slave Play.
No, I saw him in Sunday in the Park. Let's get him back on Broadway. I mean, honestly, he's such a great actor.
Yeah. All right. So Hell's Kitchen, I have not seen this yet, but it is set in the mid-90s. It's basically Alicia Keys' story. It's an Alicia Keys off-Broadway musical at the Public Theater. She did the music for it. Oh, sorry. I also want to say, going back to Spain quickly, the best part about it is the sound design, which is very intense. And
of Spain,
it's of Spain. The sound design for Spain, it's very intense, and it matches up with the show not at all. But I would love to listen to it at home.
The production elements are going overtime to make up for the fact that really nothing is happening on stage.
But Hell's Kitchen, let me know about this play with music and lyrics by Alicia Keys and a book by Christopher Diaz.
I really, really liked it. Music and lyrics is... I was under the impression that it was a few pre-existing songs and then mostly new material. It's not the case. There are like 2 or 3 new songs. They are fine. They're sort of just like your average biomusical, I want songs or whatever. Fallen? They are Fallen. Listen, what they do, they address the fact that the songs you expect in the show, like Fallen and Empire State of Mind, that you were kind of going to roll an eye at them. So what they do is that they come out of very unexpected places. They have Shoshana Bean and Brandon Victor Dixon as Alicia's, parents, stand-ins. They are singing the fuck down. Everyone in this show is singing amazing. The lead is this new actor I'd never heard of before. I think this is her professional debut, if I'm not mistaken. Her name is Malaya Joy Moon. Oh my God. She has this raspy, sort of sexy voice that's not Broadway. My major thing the past, 5 years is I need conservatories to be wiped off the face of the earth because they have wiped off individuality from singers, from Broadway performers. I love to say that Carol Channing could not get a callback in this day and age. She's great. It's a great show. It's transferring to Broadway. I'm excited with how fast things that are hits downtown are transferring.
Yeah, I really like the concept of this, and I'm excited to see it. The public should invite me to their fun musicals instead of always inviting me to a play I don't want to see.
They sure should. And well, actually, last, I guess, the other thing we saw this season together was Pearly Victorious, which I said I want Sarah Pigeon to win Best Actress. If there is one other person who could win it without me being mad, it is Cara Young, who is truly giving you Lucille Ball meets, I don't know. She is such a star.
Speaking of Carrie Young, I just saw Kara in a reading, a workshop reading of this new play, Table 17, by Douglas Lyons, who wrote Chicken and Biscuits. I did not love Chicken and Biscuits. I thought it was funny, but this play, Table 17, is so funny, and it's so moving, and it's really just about a love story between two people over time. It's not backwards like Merrily We Roll Along or Pinter's Betrayal, but it does jump back and forth in time. Carrie Young is just so amazing. I went to see it because my friend Michael Rashawn was in it, and he is amazing too. But Carrie Young, it just lit up that room and really sort of elevated everything that she said in Table 17. I'm looking forward to seeing that play in its future. As it continues to get funded and developed, but she had Pearly Victorious was really worth the price of admission, and I want to say, go and see Pearly Victorious if you can. I think that audiences should really see the show. She's amazing. Leslie Odom Jr. is great in it. It was very annoying that it is not a musical. You lied to me.
I did not lie. You misheard.
Me. I thought it was Pearly. I didn't know Pearly Victorious was the one without the music.
Okay, but here's the thing. So I interviewed Leslie and Kara for Vogue, sort of in anticipation for opening night, and Leslie's been trying to get this show off the road for years, and he worked closely with the Ossie Davis estate. So Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee sort of produced and starred in the first production of the play 60-something years ago. This is the first revival, which is kind of crazy. They wanted if a revival was going to come, they wanted the play to come first. So everyone go see this play so that in 5 or so years we can get the fucking musical revival. Everyone, if you have not heard Melba Moore, I Got Love, please go see this, go stream it. Let's give her some hits and let's get the show back on Broadway. But ultimately, Carrie Young, my God, what a star.
Okay, well, we talked about Merrily We Roll Along already, which is on Broadway. We don't need to urge people to go see Merrily We Roll Along. That show is selling out.
Yeah.
So the Sondheim girls are seeing it. The Harry Potter girls are seeing it. Krystal Joy Brown's gaggle of homos is seeing it. So, but speaking of Merrily We Roll Along, here we are, which is off Broadway at the Shed. This is the lost Sondheim musical. He was working on it before his death. I've heard rumors that Act 2 has no songs in it whatsoever.
It starts out with a song that sort of peters out. Look, the thing about that is that it makes sense, right? A lot of the show makes sense. Sondheim, was never beating the Brainiac allegations. He sort of wrote himself into a corner, and I think had he been able to have a final say on whether this should be produced or not, he might have said no. I think so. It's based on 2 films by Luis Buñuel, The Exterminating Angel, which is about sort of a group of rich people who can't leave a dinner, and then The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie, which is another set of rich people who can never get to dinner. I think it's a cute concept that might have just been left at that. It's like a riddle. The show writes itself into such a corner. It's not exactly enjoyable. The producers and the people behind it are not beating the grave robbing allegations with that one either. That said, it is such a beautiful production. The cast is fucking incredible. Tracy Bennett is doing amazing work. If you're a theater fan, I think you owe it to yourself to go see this. I don't know when else we might get it again. I don't know if there's.
And I love David Ives.
He's great. He doesn't fill in the gaps that might have needed to be filled in. I think it's too respectful of just leaving what Sondheim did alone. You do have to trek out to the fucking Shed out in Hudson Yards, which is the most demoralizing place in human history.
Okay, well, I live in the West Village, so it's not that far.
Well, you still have to walk about 3 avenues from the ACE.
That's fair.
Or take a train.
That's fair.
Car.
Yeah.
But
well, actually, speaking of Sondheim, and you said not beating the grave robbing accusations, this is our theater segment. Let's wrap up with this question of: do we need to give him a break?
Perhaps.
Because what else? Because Sweetie Todd's on Broadway right now. I'm gagging to see it with Sutton Foster in it and Aaron Tveit. Less so, but I'm really excited to see what Sutton does with Mrs. Lovett. But are we going to put every single Sondheim show on Broadway?
Let's
off Broadway?
let's wrap the Sondheim thing up after we get LaShawne's and Gypsy, and then maybe a Passion production because I haven't seen that ever. And then
okay, so you just want to keep going, bitch.
Well, they're great fucking shows, but let's just do them quick and easy. You know, like a 5-month run out, boom.
I would love to see another A Little Night Music.
Sure.
The one I saw was messy.
Hey, look, I liked it. And also bring Follies. Bring the National Theater Follies here. That was fucking incredible.
Yeah, I did miss Assassins, which made me sad. But because I've actually never seen that show produced. So,
it's fun. It was a fun production.
Anyway, these are some of the shows that are playing. There's a bunch of other shows playing, and there's a bunch of new things really sort of debuting next year. So Juan will be back
Correct.
next year. Juan, not to be the end of a Marvel movie, but Juan Ramirez will return.
And I'm already hinting because I'm wearing, of course, a T-shirt from City Center's COVID-canceled Thoroughly Modern Millie production, a show that the writers themselves have said it is, quote, cursed. But I do think we can fix it, and I do think we can get it back on Broadway. So let's make that happen, and I'll come back.
Also, one more message. Danny and the Deep Blue Sea, which is playing at the Lucille Lortel Theater.
Uh-huh.
Wire ticket is $400 fucking dollars. I'm not paying $400 to see an 80-minute play. I'm sorry. One that's down the street in that small theater. Rachel Bloom was just playing there.
Cola's heading there next year. I'm excited for that.
I am very excited for Cola Scola's show, but Danny and Deep Blue Sea, Danny and I'm gonna keep my money. So there's that. But shout out to Aubrey Plaza and Christopher Abbott. Two hot
He's so
people.
sexy. Yeah,
He's
they're
so
both
hot.
very sexy. And she's giving Stephanie Germanotta in this. That's kind of price of admission.
I want to see it, but I'm keeping my money. All right, when we're back, Lewis rejoins us for the Keep It segment. And we are back with our favorite segment of the episode, Keep It. Juan, you are our guest of honor, so you get to go first.
Okay, so mine is sort of crumbling before my very eyes because as I am doing this, I'm sort of feverishly reading every online dictionary that exists. But anyway, I have seen, and please, after I say this, everyone who's listening, please look at my Instagram and know that I am young and hip and not someone who carries around like an MLA rulebook. I have had it with seeing the word. I have had it with seeing the word mediums everywhere.
Oh, sure.
I see it in gallery, plaques. I have seen it in newspapers of note. I have seen it, my God, truly everywhere. But the final straw was hearing it in Barbra Streisand's memoir, which I have to believe that just no one wanted to correct her on that. Everyone, the plural form of medium is media. However, something called grammarist.com is telling me that since it is a Latin word and that Anglos have been using it for 500 words, that Anglos have the right to now claim it and say mediums, I'm going to say keep it to that. The word is media. An artist works across media, and that includes Barbra Streisand.
I also just want to say that when there's always a crop of grammarians who say, well, language evolves. And so eventually this is just going to become correct since, people casually will say the word mediums. I still get to be mad about it. Sorry, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the word. When I hear mediums, you better be talking about reboots of the Patricia Arquette show, or otherwise there's no excuse for that. Maybe if we're talking about t-shirts, maybe that's
right.
it.
Okay, I thought you were talking about something between tops and bottoms.
Sides
where
are
are you
popping
going?
the fuck off about this topic on Grindr right now.
I do not like the term side.
I hate the term side.
What does it mean? It's like
have less sex, everybody.
Jesus Christ.
You're tired. It's like I'm a side like after I had lunch. It's like come over. Let's just talk.
Oh, you love company. You love the musical Company. Okay, we're side by side in bed. What are we doing here? It doesn't even describe. It doesn't even describe the act of having sex without penetration. Side, you're just side to side. What is this?
No, but listen, y'all get some Europeans on the show because when I went to Europe earlier this year, I have never seen that fucking category used more on Grindr in my whole entire life. So the Europeans really took to it, and maybe I'll get to the bottom of it.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to disrespect anybody's fucking queer journey, but if I see the word side on Grindr, I hear a studio audience groan. It's like, oh, we were doing so well, and you want this fucking thing where we're just barely touching. It's like a circus act or something. I don't know.
Okay, combine my keep it. It's mediums and sides. Other than that, it's been a pretty fabulous week.
Okay, I need you saying I've been here all night and now I'm rocking side to side. Okay, that's the only side I want to hear.
Yeah. Or wait, who else is side to side? Is that Ariana Grande?
Ariana.
Yes, that's
and Nicki.
Ariana.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Is there a
sounds like
famous side? Yeah. Are there other famous side songs?
Her other songs with side in the title?
Side by side by side company.
A Sade by your side.
There we go. Yes.
Yeah.
That's comeback Sade. And she's like, guess what I'm going to sound like? Sade.
Ugh. All right. By the way, I heard Soldier of Love at Good Room on Saturday. Carrie Nation played it. That song went off. That is such a sexy song. And also didn't realize it's really just like a club song.
Right. Because it has a low sort of rumble. You know, it's not a dominating song, but it has the only word we use anymore, vibe. It has a vibe.
I hope that next year we finally do get that Sade album that we've been promised.
I was going to say, Sade doesn't miss. However, she's only taken 2 shots. So please come back, Helen, which is her name. Yeah.
Lewis.
Yes.
What is your keep it this week?
Okay, I can't tell if this is niche Twitter or kind of everywhere. I saw John Fugelsang, the comic, post this, and he seems to be for everybody. So I'm going to say it is beyond niche. A note from alleged
AFB replacement hosts. Yes,
that's exactly right. Daisy Fuentes, come on, keep it. I would love to know what's going on with you. This alleged note from Joan Crawford about Bette Davis is circulating online. It says, Bob, dear, I hope by now you have had an opportunity to talk with Betty about her body odor. It is quite the distraction for me working within close proximity to her if she refuses to bathe or wear adequate deodorant. I have found myself gagging on several occasions during this filming. Fondly, Joan. Obviously, we're talking about whatever happened to Baby Jane. Guys, of course this is fucking fake. If this were a real note, we would be like reciting it at holidays, at funerals, whatever. Every gay person in America would have this note fucking memorized. And also, it would have been recited word for word on the show Feud. It would have been Jessica Lange's Emmy clip. Just be responsible about what you share. There's enough real shade coming from Joan Crawford anyway, enough in the real story that we should all be sort of familiar with what's real and what's not. She wouldn't, it upsets me. I felt like the media literacy on this was all awry.
There would be an entire documentary series, or at least a TikTok series, of whatever gay national treasure discovered this note if it were real.
Totally.
There would be an endowed chair at USC devoted to testing the legitimacy of this fucking note.
No, you both said you were at Julius earlier. This note is given fucking Lee Israel and Can You Ever Forgive Me? You know?
Yeah, Bob
sitting
Deere
there typing.
immediately.
Yeah, right. Bob Deere immediately. Exactly. It's too suspicious from the jump. Yes.
I should need to revisit
and
that
gagging
movie.
too, you know.
Yes. Also,
Joan Crawford could be the grand matriarch of Gag City for all we fucking know.
That's true. She was a good actress about 3 times altogether. I just saw the movie Possessed recently. That could have been somebody else. She was nominated for it. Not a great. Okay,
is that early Joan? It's
late 40s. It's sort of like
mid-career.
It's a thriller. Yeah, as far as the 40s go.
That could have been someone else. Let me think. She's been.
Sudden Fear, I think, is her best performance.
That's 50s. Yeah. That's a good performance from her. I like her in Grand Hotel. I mean, Mildred Pierce is her best, but yes.
Yeah, Mildred Pierce, and then there's what's one of my other favorites? I mean, Johnny Guitar.
Which is
right.
The costuming alone. I mean, I should be dressed up like that at birthday
But you know
parties.
what? Is it Mercedes McCambridge who plays like
sure
the town
is.
bitch?
Oh,
she sort of takes that movie though.
Yes, I love Mercedes McCambridge. She's
the
the
women.
Oscar winner, and of course, the women I love. That's one of her best roles. Mercedes McCambridge, rare Oscar winner who I believe her son went on a small murder spree and then blamed his mom for it. Look that up.
Like her vocal performance in The Exorcist?
No, just in general. He said, "Mommy, you were a terrible parent" in the note or something. It's really disturbing.
Well,
though I love Mercedes McCambridge and All the King's Men. Delicious.
I guess Mercedes and Lana Turner had a lot to talk about.
That's a lot of dubious gunslinging.
Murderous children.
To bring it back to Johnny Guitar. Yeah. Ira, what is your keep it this week?
Okay, my keep it this week is we never really dove into the Renaissance.
Oh, right.
You saw it, Lewis.
I did.
And I just want to talk a bit about the responses to Renaissance.
Okay.
And my keep it goes to all of the brouhaha are surrounding Angelica Jade Bastion's review of Renaissance in Vulture, which there's a couple points I want to make. One, I love Angelica Jade Bastion's work, obviously, and she's been a wonderful Keep It co-host before.
And Bette Davis stan, I just want to say.
Yes. Two, I didn't actually love the review, to be honest.
I'm kind of confused that there's an uproar about this. I think it's sort of an expected criticism. Moving on.
Yeah, I think it's an expected criticism, but I didn't love the particular review. One of the quotes says that Renaissance, a film, demonstrates that Black joy isn't inherently radical. In fact, without a sense of materiality, Black joy becomes directionless and easy to co-opt by the varied forces of power that are fueled by anti-Blackness. Beyoncé is an icon who has carefully maintained a sense of accessibility to anyone, anywhere, for any reason. Black musical traditions may have the potential for radicalism, but Beyoncé's neutrality demonstrates they aren't inherently that way. More than anything, Renaissance is a testament that Beyoncé is a brand that stands for absolutely nothing beyond its own greatness, which I would disagree with, but that is also the great thing about criticism. You're allowed to put out your idea and then people can respond to it. Personally, what I take from Beyoncé and her brand and what I have for years takes it beyond it just standing for Beyoncé's own greatness. But there is also to be something said about using, Black Panther aesthetics for formation at the Super Bowl. And then are we going to translate that into being a revolutionary? And do we want each piece of art that Beyoncé releases after that to be Black Panther standing on a cop car in the formation video, something like that, Or are there other ways to sort of be revolutionary? I feel like me listening to this music in a queer club, listening to it, with friends, listening to it and having themselves feel better by listening to this music does a lot, and it goes a long way. And that is the intent for the album. And obviously there's a lot of issues with, there's that video of people in Israel listening to Break My Soul, and people were angry at that. But I also think that when you are an artist and you put something out into the world, you also no longer have any control how people co-opt and use your music. I think that we're in this very weird space where we are demanding everyone be sort of holding themselves accountable for what's going on in the world. And I guess that we have always had sort of Black revolutionaries who sort of had to speak out because, it was Jim Crow, right? And you weren't let in the front door. And they wouldn't let you get to the hospital, if you're Bessie Smith. I don't know. I'm talking like this now. Sorry. Hand on my hip, talking a Southern drawl. But it was Bessie Smith, right? The hospital.
That's like very, very old. I'm sure it is her. Yes.
Die in the hospital rumor. Whatever.
Oh, so yeah. Empress of the Blues. Yes.
Yes. There's a whole play about it. Anyway, I just have to say that I've never thought that Beyoncé was a revolutionary. And so the idea that, there's going to be commentary on what's going on in the world felt a little bit like we were putting something on the film that I was never expecting to get from it. But with that said, it's one fucking review. It's not stopping people from going to see Renaissance. And I think that everyone needs to chill a little bit. And it was this whole week was people angry about the Renaissance review. It was Swifties angry that people were making fun of Taylor's quotes in that Time magazine profile, which were admittedly hilarious.
Yes,
it was hilarious, and also
with her two pop culture references. Yes, she's like, I'm just like Lord of the Rings. What?
And also, the photos were awful.
They were strange. I would describe them as off kilter.
Yeah. It was giving a lot of Carmen Electra in her 1993 debut album.
Okay.
But
finally a good reference for her.
But Prince wasn't on set.
Right. No.
Okay.
I want to say about the furor about Angelica Jade Bastion. I guess my feeling is it feels to me like Beyonce fans, their whole thing is saying Beyonce exceeds every standard. And then they read this review and they're like, why are you holding her to a standard? It's like, no, you are too. You just think she beats it.
Yeah.
So I just felt like I wish people just entertained the argument a little bit more as opposed to trying to reject it wholesale. Like I saw like reactions that were like, I can't believe this got past an editor. Oh, shut the fuck up, bitch. Like it's not like she's illiterate or whatever you're implying.
I would say that for me, there are valid criticisms to be had about Beyonce being withholding as an artist or sort of being something for everyone. I mean, but that is a thing that I feel like has always been within her documentaries. We didn't learn anything about her in this. I thought the blue stuff was
that's
beautiful.
A criticism I have about the movie. Like she teases like we're going to get a lot of backstage. Like, oh, it's really interesting to watch the run crew work or whatever. Oh, here's somebody I've known for years who works on this tour, and then you never hear from them again. Like it's sort of just, it's almost like that should have been a different movie from the Renaissance tour.
The blue segment was beautiful. I loved that. And I also loved the parts that showed, how she was crafting the show, particularly in the Alien Superstar moment where the lights, where the power had gone out in St. Louis and how she recovered from that. But even if I love this better than Homecoming, I think it's the best we've ever seen of filming her on stage. And just you really feel like you're in the show. I wanted more rehearsal footage. I wanted more. She talked about this had been created for 4 years. I wanted to hear more about how you created it 4 years ago. Okay, bitch, you were working on this 4 years ago. You were thinking about this tour in tandem. I want to learn more about creating an album and creating a tour at the same time, and then thinking visually about how you're going to present it to your audience.
Totally.
That's what I wanted to see.
Because I would still say, like, after you watch this movie, it feels like this entire concept of Renaissance came out of nowhere. When it's, like, very specific and strange. Like, how did we get to an alien place? How did we get to, it's going to look like this? These kinds of costumes that are all elevated. Stuff. Yeah, all these costumes are well elevated from her previous work. And it's like, where did that come from? I will say about this movie, there's so much technical marvel in it that you almost need a different viewing per thing. Like I watching the movie for the first time could not stop looking at the costumes. We could just do one entire viewing devoted to the vocals. Literally, if there was nothing in front of you and you just heard her fucking sing, obviously that would be an entertainment triumph on its own. It's a ton of movie packed into 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, I was getting other stuff on a second viewing. I've only seen it twice so far, but really, I just wanted more behind the scenes. Even the knee stuff for me, obviously there was the Dubai thing, but the tapping into her knee surgery, right?
Yeah.
A documentary not made by, I wouldn't expect this in a Beyonce-made documentary. There's a lot to be said about her being the writer, director, producer, like this sort of auteur presenting her life to people. But the knee stuff was very much like, okay, well, I saw the show in Europe, and everyone online is always joking about how Europe was basically a test run for the tour, and she was really coming alive in the US, right? We didn't really get any of that in the show. It was sort of, the show's been at this caliber the entire time, which makes sense because she's producing it. But I also think that that's a marvel to get to where we are, So those are my sort of main criticisms of it. But man, I really enjoyed it. And I think that also people just need to get better at taking critiques because the artists are taking them just fine. They're not seeing them. They're not seeing them. They're not worried about them. And you're getting worked up over someone having a debate about work. And I think it's also just because we aren't getting that much criticism out there in general. It's you get something from Vulture or Pitchfork, right? Maybe something crazy from Slate, but there's not everyone's not getting paid or commissioned to write on Renaissance, so there's not a bunch of different pieces coming out,
I just want to say also, though, you have reminded me how much I do love it when artists have pressed responses to criticisms. Like, give me Lana Del Rey being like, look, you fucking maligned me, bitch, on this fucking album and Powers at the LA Times. I'm coming after you. It would never be this high. She would never do it in full breath as I'm doing, but yes.
Yeah. She's vaping too much.
No. Lana Del Rey being too bit. You know what she is? She's like
A cancer.
when that jukebox hasn't worked in 50 years and someone hits it and finally a voice comes out of it for the first time since 1964. That's what she sounds like to me. You know.
So we have the Fonz to thank for Lana Del Rey.
Yes, at Arnold's bar or whatever that is. Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been a fantastic episode. Thank you to Krystal Joy Brown for being our guest. Thank you to Juan Ramirez for being our guest co-host.
What a fucking fabulous co-host. What a pleasure.
Thank you both. All theaters never not dying, so I'll come back to save it every single time.
Baby, people were saying theater was dying when they hated Seneca's version of Medea. I'm sure.
Look at
this
you.
is what we're doing.
What the fuck was that? Yeah.
Since Aeschylus stepped from the chorus line to quote, "What's his face?" and All About Eve.
Addison DeWitt. Yes.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You know, since olden days when a flash of stocking was looked on as something shocking. Okay. Anyway, we will see you next week for our last episode of the year.
Maybe we'll finally get it right.
Yeah. What? Then we're gonna start Keep It Year 7.
Holy shit!
What?
It's getting Shondaland. It's getting Shondaland up in here. Yeah.
We're gonna take over the government.
Yeah. Right.
It is giving Showtime. This is never gonna end. Season 52.
I can't wait for the box set.
All right. We'll see you next week.